listen to a pretty alright podcast about wrestling, do ya?
Well, the natural lad, Jim Swag, has said time and time again that there's only one podcast that's the most decent and the most alright in the industry today.
And that's... It's the Game Rage Wrestling Podcast. Oh, yeah, that's right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the most decent and the most all-right wrestling podcast on the internet, Game Rage Wrestling. My name's Josh. I'm here today with good buddy Adam.
Greetings.
And today we're going to be talking about this fucking Netflix Mr. McMahon episode number 3. Really, they should have titled the episode Screwjob. They should have titled it Bret Hart's an Asshole. That's what they should have titled it. But anyways, we'll get to that. But before we get there, if you want to listen to more of our stuff, you can follow along on YouTube. You can like, comment, subscribe over there. Hear all of the podcasts, not just this wonderful one, but there's multitudes of podcasts that we have that you can listen to. You can follow us on social media at Game Rage Magazine on Instagram and TikTok, at Game Rage Mag on Twitter/X. Also, if you want, you can go listen to the All Gas No Trash music podcast hosted by our good buddy Adam here. And you can follow him on Instagram at All Gas No Trash Official. If you like animes and mangas, you can go listen to the Anime Syndicate podcast, and you can follow our good buddy Frank at anime_syndicate_podcast. All right, let's get into this fucking episode. Bret Hart taking the opportunity, every chance this motherfucker gets to be on TV, he always shits on Goldberg, blames Goldberg for ending his career, and then he fucking talks about how great he is. When in reality, I don't think he was really that great, looking back in hindsight. He's pretty decent at wrestling. Can't talk for shit.
Maybe as a heel, if he being so agitated about how things went for him at the Montreal Screwjob that after the fact, that's when he started cutting all right promos.
Yeah.
Man, just going through this whole fucking thing made me realize how unnecessary all of it was. This is just like a Spark. This is like a Spark Notes version of, or rather, a Cliff Notes version of catching up on who Mr. McMahon is, right?
Right. Yeah.
And for everybody that's already invested in wrestling to begin with, this is not. There's essentially no new information to be drawn from or drawn to or extrapolated, and it just retreads topics that have been talked about in numerous documentaries. Yeah, it pertained to Vince McMahon. That's another thing, man. This thing did not go down the routes that I thought it would, especially when it talked about the family stuff, about him being abused as a child.
Yeah.
And it kind of just glossed over that. But then again, Vince McMahon was not going to give him that info anyways, because he said, oh, I don't like talking about myself or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, fine, fuck. But then it just feels like most of the documentaries was somewhat filling out kind of the WWF, WWE history, but not specifically concentrating on Vince McMahon for more than half of the time allotted for each episode.
Right. And okay, the WWE has done so many fucking documentaries about each one of these things. Also, if you wanted to get the non-corporatized version, Vice did the Dark Side of the Ring on pretty much every topic they've covered.
Yeah.
So far. Yeah. And we've already heard all these same assholes say the same shit over and over again. It is furthering that this whole Mr. McMahon series is kind of unnecessary. Like you said, because if you were a wrestling fan or have been a wrestling fan, I've been basically watching wrestling since 1993. So it's been, 30 fucking something years? 31 years I've been watching wrestling. And I knew all this shit already. I've already known all this. I've seen it all happen. I saw the whole Montreal Screwjob thing go down, like watched the whole thing. Seen the documentaries about it. Seen everything. This shit was not new. Everything here has already been presented, and I could understand them retreading it if they were going to shine a new light on it, but they didn't. all they did was get the same exact stories from the same people who were there and the same shit that was involved. We already knew Vince told Hunter and fucking Shawn Michaels, hey, this is what's going to go down. This is what needs to happen. You're going to put him in the sharpshooter. Brett's going to think the match is going to go on to whatever bullshit guys you guys had already prearranged that Brett was going to win, or there was going to. I don't remember what the thing was that they thought Brett was going to get DQ'd, or there was going to be something, and then because Brett didn't want to drop the title to Shawn, right? So that's especially in Canada.
I don't want to say was it a big deal that Bret Hart belittling Bret Hart's perspective about the thing, because one of the things they brought up was that he had a 20-year contract, or he was going to be the person that had the largest contract in the WWE at the time. And like he was the face of the company at the time. Yeah. But him letting go of the title in his hometown, like, yeah, I'd be pissed off. But at the same time, you kind of have to acknowledge that the reason that you're in the position you're in is because you work for the company. Therefore, it's like you're not entitled to the fucking thing. Like you're good, but well, when we want to pull the strap, referring to Vince McMahon and the higher end executives, right? Whenever they want to pull off the strap somebody, they're gonna fucking do it. So why is this any different?
Right. Well, like Vince said, you didn't win anything. I gave you the belt to wear. Now I'm taking it from you. Yeah. And you don't get to sit here and decide what you do and what you don't do. And this was already after Vince had to blow up the deal between them, because Vince was like, I can't afford to pay you this fucking money. Like, it's just not going to work. And so he said, hey, he did Brett a solid by saying, use this 20-year fucking $1 million a year contract that I gave you as leverage to go get another contract.
Yeah.
I'll let you out of it if you can go get the deal. And he did. He went to WCW and got a very fucking lucrative deal from them and got out of the contract because Vince was like, cool, now I don't got to pay this asshole. And he's like, but he didn't want to do the job, which I will say, Bret Hart is the asshole in this fucking scenario. There is no way around it. Yes, it kind of sucks that Vince couldn't pay him what the deal was that they paid him, right? But also, Brett, you knowing that you got to make this money as a nut, you also got to draw the people in, right? And if you're not doing that, that's kind of on you. Kind of your fault. You also can't just be selfish because, again, the WWF at the time was not like WCW. It wasn't backed by billionaire fucking dollars. It was, they had money, but like they didn't have Ted Turner fucking money. And so other guys got to get paid. And in WCW was perfect for guys like Hogan, for Hall, for Nash, guys that wanted to be super selfish and get their money. And just like fucking Kevin Nash always says in all these documentaries, I'm not here to make friends, or I got enough friends already. You can either make friends or get money, right? I already got enough friends. I'd rather make some fucking money now.
Which is not technically true, because then you have the click thing that was also mentioned. I'm not sure if it was this episode. Yeah, it was this episode.
Yeah.
So it's like, come on.
Well, that's what he was saying. He's like, I already got enough friends. Now I want to get paid.
Yeah.
And so that's why he went to WCW, because now it was time to get paid. And that's what those guys that went over there did. They could go into business for themselves and make their money.
Yeah.
And they did, and it worked. Bret Hart also got to take advantage of that. So in this scenario, yes, Bret Hart is the asshole. Vince gave him, I don't think Vince McMahon's a good dude by any chance, but he said, hey, I can't pay you this. At the very least, here, use this to go get more money at the other guy, right? Like Vince said that. And cool, he did that, and then Bret Hart didn't want to do him the solid of dropping the belt and leaving, because Vince McMahon was like, hey, we can't allow this thing that happened with Medusa or Sonya Blaze or whatever the fuck her name was in WWF. We can't allow this to happen here. Like, where she went to WCW with the women's belt of the WWF and dumped it in the trash on live TV. All right? We cannot allow them to do that with the WWF championship belt. So we got to do what we got to do. Brett doesn't want to lose the belt. Well, guess what? The Montreal screw job has to happen. And really doing that, and then Vince coming out and cutting that promo of, Brett screwed Brett and like all this type of stuff, right? That's what was the genesis and really launched the Mr. McMahon character into the limelight, was this whole Bret Hart Montreal screw job situation. because people got to see behind the scenes. This was something that wasn't supposed to go down like this, right? This kind of broke kayfabe a little bit because they clearly did screw Bret Hart, and everybody was kind of like, what's going on? And then Bret Hart shows up on WCW the next week, right? Oh, okay, well, now we kind of get to see behind the scenes here of, oh, if you don't want to do the job, then you're just going to they're going to do what they got to do to protect themselves or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And this put Vince McMahon, because Bret Hart was, at least in Canada, was a very, very hot babyface. And him coming out and telling Bret Hart that he was an asshole or whatever, that put him on the spot as being sort of like this bad guy character. And that's when it really started to go. Then he started getting into shit with Stone Cold, and it just progressed further and further. But this was the genesis of the Mr. McMahon character.
Yeah, and they also showed, I'm not sure if they showed it in other documentaries, but they show the footage of Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels talking in the locker. Mm-hmm. And then they cut to Hunter, and they're like, "What did you know?" And
he's like,
no.
"Oh man." And that's what they said, that this has been known, that Vince told both of them that they were to swear no matter what, that they had no idea about this. And he's like, "Just let me take the heat on this." And I will say, that's a good guy move on Vince's part. You got your guys that are loyal to you. They're in on it, but you're going to say, no. Just let them know that it was just me. And then, yeah, Bret Hart fucking decks Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Basically, like, knocks him out.
Yeah.
And as Vince said, he's like, yeah, I knew that's what he deservedly so, because of what we had to do.
Yeah, and then so in the midst of all this as well, we had the United States versus
Vince McMahon.
Vince McMahon with the steroid use and all that shit. That part I didn't really particularly care for because this is stuff we already knew, and yeah, Hogan testified and didn't rat out on fucking.
Basically, he didn't not rat him out, but he basically was like, "Hey, nobody fucking Vince McMahon never took the needle and injected any of us."
Yeah, he never fucking handed us the drugs. It's like
right,
and I think it makes sense because they never really had anything to begin with on him. It's not like he was handing out the fucking drugs. Like, okay, yeah, you got a doctor.
Right.
But who the fuck knows if Vince McMahon ever actually said... It's by proxy, right? Like,
yeah.
It happened by proxy, so it never was a direct exchange from Vince McMahon to a wrestler. And plus, like, I think people would have gotten the idea that Vince McMahon has, like, a fetish with fucking roided out dudes.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to do it on their own to climb to the top of the company, so... Because that's what would probably get you over, like the look got you over most times.
And listen, pro wrestling is scripted. It's not actual sport. So why do steroids need to be banned in pro wrestling?
Yeah.
That, again, this was what was most insane to me, was at the time in all these sports where we had these massive steroid scandals, they chose to go after the one sport that's not actually a real sport, or it's not actually a real competition. You know what I'm saying? Like, the outcomes are scripted. So, like, you're not actually cheating by using steroids. So why not go after Major League Baseball? Why not go after NFL?
I think it's because my theory is that it's because it's an easy scapegoat. Because if they did actually go after the MLB or football, then it becomes a little bit more blown out of proportion. So it's like, all right, we'll take the easy route.
Well,
we'll go with like a non-sport thing.
Yeah.
But we'll still have our cake and eat it.
And we can say, oh, we went after steroids. Look.
Yeah.
But even though they didn't really do anything.
Not really anything.
Again, if you go after one company as opposed to going after a sport league, well, the NFL has got 32 fucking teams. MLB's got 30 fucking teams. There's 30, that's 60 some odd fucking owners, rich guys that you're going to be going after that likely have influence that, of course, you're not going to want to fuck with those guys.
Yeah.
So
imagine collectively if each sport decided, oh no, we're uniting with all the sports within the United States and we're standing by, well, not to say that they're standing by steroids, but like,
yeah.
Like, oh, you're picking on one of us, we're gonna come after fucking all of us, so we might as well stand together. And
yeah,
and that looks worse on the U.S. than it does them.
Yeah, definitely. And then what else fucking happened in this episode?
Oh, you had the click shit with Kevin Nash and Razor Ramon going over, which has been talked about like fucking
ad nauseum, man. Like
I get it. I fucking get it that this was a bad move on their part and they're trying to still uphold kayfabe and all that shit. But again, this is something that has been glossed over numerous times. And yeah, they go over them becoming, or the Outsiders becoming the NWO with Hulk Hogan, and how it led to 83 weeks as Eric Bischoff talks your ear off about how great it was to finally beat Vince McMahon with WCW and the Monday Night Wars and all that bullshit. And then we have, do they talk about the death of Owen Hart?
no, that's the next episode. That's when that happens.
Okay, because I forgot if that was brought up in this episode. But shit, what was the other stuff that they talked about? Oh, the fucking screw job.
Yeah, that was basically it. It was the screw job, the trial, and then Eric Bischoff fucking meandering on for fucking multiple minutes about how great WCW was. And again, saying the same shit that he said 83 weeks, 83 fucking times in a row. He said the same shit on all these documentaries, all right?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm an Eric Bischoff mark, but Jesus Christ, just shut the fuck up already, okay? We know. We fucking know.
Yeah.
You need to start, Eric Bischoff, you need to start turning down some of these fucking things. Because if you're just going to come on and repeat yourself every single fucking time, I don't need to fucking hear it. I don't want, no. You think we need to hear this shit? Sure, maybe the new people need to hear this stuff, but you've already done in the last 5 years, 85 interviews talking about the same thing.
This is like 30 years after the fact, too.
Yeah. And I get it. You're proud of that and you want to fucking tell everybody about that shit. But do something different now, motherfucker. Jesus Christ. Talk about something. And that's how all these podcasts, like, what's his name? Bruce Pritchard has a podcast. Fucking JR's got a podcast. Fucking Eric Bischoff has one. All these guys are just literally doing numbers based on
Reliving the past,
talking about the past, and then reviewing. They do reviews of old pay-per-views that they were at, that they did shit for, that they wrote. It's like, Jesus Christ, people will fucking they'll watch the matches and commentate over them again. And I'm like, are we living in clown world? Like, what the fuck is going on here? So people love it though. And you know what? Good for them. They can still get some views and get some money and be relevant. Good for them, I guess. But I don't know. I used to listen to them, but now I'm just like, I can't do it.
Yeah, my favorite part was Bret Hart being on the verge of tears, saying about how what he brought to wrestling was true artistry. He was an artist in the goddamn ring.
When I did it, I was an artist. Shut the fuck up, Bret. I swear, I hate Bret Hart now, man. I fucking hate that dude. I used to enjoy Bret Hart. Not anymore. After seeing him on all these fucking documentaries, be an asshole and fucking just be bitter and just be a cunt, I'm done.
Yeah, I also think these documentaries serve multiple purposes and not just solely for the fact of storytelling.
Yeah.
But it's like a byproduct to promote other people or other things.
Yeah.
Because the necessity of Cody Rhodes and The Rock being in the goddamn
zero.
Things, I didn't fucking need it, dude. And it's like, okay, now they're adding social capital to fucking The Rock, or vice versa. Maybe The Rock is adding social capital to this thing because then people will talk about it. But bro, like, I don't want to hear about how great the fucking Attitude Era is from him specifically, because he's been on like almost every documentary.
Yeah.
I mean, the fucking WCW documentary that Vice did.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What was the point of adding you to the WCW thing? Other than to say that the Attitude Era was fucking great and we won, and I'm The Rock, and I'm reliving the past.
Yeah, basically. I don't know.
But there's plenty of time for that in episode 4, because the fourth episode is dubbed Attitude, which implies the Attitude Era.
This is what they have. It's heavily Owen Hart dying and the Attitude Era, basically. So we'll get into that on the next episode. But anyways, you got anything else for this one?
No, without...
I should rename this episode to Fuck Bret Hart. That's what it should
Fuck
be.
Bret Hart. It was the lowest point of the WWF, because it's all ups from here, mostly.
Yeah.
Probably the darkest point after the fact that their major superstars had... Well, I don't know how popular Kevin Nash and fucking Razor... Well,
that was the weird era. That was this weird in-between era. It was that in-between Hogan and in-between the Attitude Era. That was kind of like that weird filler area. And it was like Diesel, Razor, you had Psycho Sid in there. And then you come in with Bret Hart that kind of picked it up. And then it just fell off again until you get into the Attitude Era proper. And then with the Shawn Michaels taking the strap from Bret. And then carrying it all the way until basically WrestleMania 14, which was Stone Cold versus Shawn Michaels in the main event. And then that propelled Stone Cold over the top. And then that really, the Attitude Era was in full effect at that point, basically.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Anyways. All right. Well, that'll do it for us on this one. Stay tuned for the next episode where we talk about episode number 4 of Mr. McMahon on Netflix, the unnecessary documentary of the year. that will win most unnecessary documentary of the year at the Emmys or whatever the fuck it is.
I hope so.
Anyway, at the Game Ragies, that'll...
The Game Ragies, yeah, we should be doing that.
We should be doing a BFN called the Game Ragies 2024 at the end of the year. We'll give out awards. And this will win most unnecessary documentary ever made.
The Ragies.
Yeah. Anyways, follow us on more things. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Go to YouTube, goddammit. Fucking
follow us on the social media, Game Rage Magazine.
Yeah, at Game Rage Magazine on Instagram and TikTok. YouTube is at Game Rage Magazine. Like, comment, and subscribe. At Game Rage Mag on Twitter/X. Follow Adam at All Gas No Trash Official, and you can follow our good buddy Frank at anime_syndicate_podcast on Instagram. That's it for us. Fuck Bret Hart. We'll catch you on the next one. That was another wonderful, amazing, powerful episode of the Game Rage Wrestling Podcast. And take it from me, ladies and gentlemen, the natural lad, Jet Swag. If there's one podcast, one show you should be listening to, that you should be absolutely grateful for, it's the Game Rage Wrestling Podcast. And one of the things you can do to show your appreciation for all the hard work and dedication that these boys put out day in, day out, just for you people, it's that you can go and you can subscribe and you can like and follow them on the Instagram and the TikTok at Game Rage Magazine. You can also follow them and like them and subscribe to them on the old Twitter, which I don't know what it's called now, but who cares? It's at Game Rage Mag there. Additionally, if you feel the need to really show your appreciation, which you should, then go to their website at www.GameRageMagazine.com and show us some love. Show them some love. And show some love for the natural lad, Jet Swag.